My mom is going to watch this video, so how are you doing? Hope you're doing fine. I ask you guys for hot takes on Twitter for Hearthstone. Unpopular opinions, anything that crosses your mind when it comes to this game. See what you guys had in mind, and maybe we can have some interesting conversations, perhaps. It is fairly one-sided, considering that I talk to a camera right now and you can't respond. But hey, here we go. Dual class should be a staple of every expansion going forward. Not only do they explore new and interesting synergies, but they make it so every card that is dual class has twice the value than a regular card, especially legendaries. Can you disagree with that? If there are so many dual class cards, then your collection manager is also twice as full. It doesn't seem like a bad thing. Even though you can play twice as many cards and your cards are twice as useful, considering that you can use them in more than one class, I guess it's also more annoying to play against. I guess that's one downside, but I honestly just agree with this take. Makes the game cheaper, you get a legendary, you can use it in more than one class. I think that's just good. Hearthstone Ladder should be on a best of 3 format with a sideboard, maybe between 5 or 10 cards. It would be great to have a rematch when you lose, and trying to adapt your deck to adapt to all of the meta at once is stupid. Whole lot of words for one tweet, but let's think about that. If every single match that you play in ranked would be a best of 3 format, then it would be Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you have a side deck with tech cards. So the answer is Hearthstone is not Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's why this one is a hot take, right? If you would always have to play at least 2 games to get 1 star to win, then going to Legend takes at least twice as long. But I do understand that this is for tech cards, right? If you play, let's say, Spellbreaker, but you only queue into aggressive decks where silence doesn't matter too much, and you tech that against, let's say, Big Priest, then, well, having the card in your deck normally is pretty useless. So having a best of 3 format where you can exchange cards would make it more fun. I guess that is more like a tournament mode then. But yeah, I think most people are impatient, they don't want to wait that long. So I can't really see this one happening in Hearthstone. People would just disconnect and lose. This one is funny. Till OTK isn't the problem in Wild. The only thing that's a problem is the animation times. This was posted on the 27th, and now the card is nerfed. So maybe Blizzard thought it was a problem in Wild? But let's think about it. It's a combo by like turn 7 or 8, maybe if you play Priest and you're fast by like turn 5, that wins you the game and the opponent can't counterplay that unless they use Dirty Red or Loath Up. Yeah, I don't know if that is a problem. That sounds like almost every other combo in Wild. It just happened earlier. It wasn't really a problem, it was just new and annoying. The minimum mana cost for a Hearthstone card should be 1 mana. Here's the question. When you play the card in-game, or the mana crystal in the top left corner of the card, so cards like Preparation and Backstab shouldn't exist, or that you can't reduce a card to 0 mana. I guess you've seen that on Dragon Queen Alexstrasza that gives you 2 0-cost dragons, that is really broken, so they nerfed it to 1 mana. But in any case, I think cards like Wisp should cost 0 mana. Nobody would play the card if it wouldn't be 0 mana. And nobody plays that card. Discover cards shouldn't offer discover cards. So technically, you could go infinite if you discover the right thing with your discover cards. But they kind of changed that already, because a card that discovers something or generates something can't generate itself. So this one was meant for discovering other cards that discover other cards that give you a random lucky that gives you a random dragon. I think I would actually just agree on that. Hearthstone is at a really good spot right now. I really like the Battle Pass update, it has made me enjoy the game a lot more, the standard meta is also enjoyable. That's an actual hot take. I surround myself with, at the moment not much Hearthstone, but when I surround myself with Hearthstone, it's Reddit, it's Twitter, it's YouTube, Twitch, pretty much every social media is 50% Hearthstone for me. And what I see the most often is people complaining, because they play the game for hours every single day for the past 7 years. Maybe this opinion is from somebody that doesn't really check out those social medias. The quiet majority of players, so to say. Because I think Hearthstone is in a really good spot right now, unless you play it daily. Because when I play the game once or twice a week, I have fun. But I noticed the moment I start to play for longer than 2 hours, I don't have fun anymore. I don't. So depending on where you stand, I agree and disagree with this one. Turn timers are too long. I don't think that's a hot take. That's just true. Unless you play like any APM deck, then I guess the turn timer is beneficial to you, but most people don't, so pushing weapon-based strategies is dumb. I heard that people don't mind it too much when they play Rogue, because they play like Kingspin or get like a 10 attack weapon and just hit face. So the strategy would be, you get the weapon and you buff the weapon, then you point face, but that's just playing an aggressive deck. I guess when it comes to having fun in the game, I would say or assume that most people don't like just getting hit in the face and they can't do anything against that. But if they want to do anything against that, they can just play Sticky Fingers and steal their weapon. From a fun standpoint, I would say yes, just going face with a weapon is pretty boring. But if you just want to have a quick game, then that is a good strategy. Battlegrounds single-handedly ruined Hearthstone. I don't think single-handedly, but to an extent, yeah. The thing about BGs is it's Hearthstone cards, but it's not Hearthstone. It's auto chess. It's a different game. And most people, at least when you look at Twitch, most people play Battlegrounds. Multiple reasons for that. All you need is like 2,500 gold to get the expansion pass, whatever it's called. And that's all you gotta spend on for 4 months, for an entire season. It's free to play, you can just click and play, you don't need to build a deck, and there's just no additional cost to it. I would actually say though, as a counter argument, I think Battlegrounds saved Hearthstone instead of ruined that. It ruined the original card game where you play the cards with your deck, but that was dying anyway, so at least people still stick with Hearthstone. I would actually say that without Battlegrounds, probably half the people that stream on Twitch and that make content for the game would have left. But hey, that's also just my opinion, can be completely wrong. Going back to Twitch with drops isn't going to save or boost competitive Hearthstone viewership. Making player storylines more known within the greater Hearthstone community will do so in the slightest. I also disagree with that. I think if they would move the competitive scene back to Twitch from YouTube, they would get like 200,000 viewers. Okay, maybe not that many, but like a lot more viewers than they have right now. The problem is, nobody watches streams on YouTube, at least most people don't. They use it to watch videos, highlights, clips, whatever. And they had like 13,000 viewers at peak for the World Championship, which they didn't advertise. So I think if they would have put that onto Twitch, where people could actually see that and have a better chat experience, spam CACW, and get drops just for watching, it would 100% boost the viewership. I would agree that it won't save the competitive scene because it's a random game with a bunch of random, but it would boost it 100%. Like, you can't say it wouldn't boost the viewership if viewers get something for watching, compared to there's no incentive to watch in the first place. So yes, it's 100% going to boost it, but it won't save it. I think the best part of Hearthstone is its sound design, and people who play on mute are missing out a lot. See, I used to play the game without muting it for like the first year and a half, and I liked all the voice lines, I liked the music. When you play Legendary and you hear those different sounds, that was great. And then I realized it's the same thing over and over, and I kind of didn't care anymore. I rather listen to music. So while I do miss out on the sounds, I'm not sure if it is really the greatest part of the game. If the greatest part of the game is the sound and not the gameplay, then the game is doing something wrong. Which might be true. All the voice actors are doing a great job. The themes for all the legendaries, I like them a lot. But yet I do choose music over it. Maybe just from my point of view, it's not the greatest part of the game. But yeah, maybe for you guys it's different. I just always have it muted. That might also be the reason why I don't immerse myself that deeply into the game world. The Grand Tournament has the most fun cards of any set and was the most fun set as well. I think that's the biggest disagree I had so far. The expansion was pretty boring. It was only played because there were some aggressive cards in there. The Joust and Inspire mechanic were garbage and people didn't like it. But maybe you like to use your hero power. I don't know, all the legendaries kind of suck besides Eviana, right? And Justica Trueheart. Even though you have like the Wonder Twins with like Elise and Fiola, most of you don't even know those cards exist. So personally I do disagree, but maybe you had fun during that era and then stopped playing the game altogether. Demon Hunter was a good addition to the game. People just got salty over it because of how broken it was on release due to Blizzard's poor game testing. I agree. Yeah, I would say so. Having a new class in Hearthstone was a good addition. Not necessarily with that hero power and those class cards that are all broken, but a new addition to Hearthstone that was not bad. Having a 10th class, I like that. Combo decks are healthy for the meta game, and the only reason people get mad at them is because they approach games against combo decks with the wrong mindset entirely. I would say that goes back to what I said earlier about the Hysteria OTK. You kind of can play around that if you have like low tap and you know when to play them, so they can't use their spells, or you play Dirty Red against their combo pieces, so you have to guess when they have all the cards in their hand. But it's pretty uninteractive, right? But overall, with the message that you can approach games differently and know how to play and how to pilot your deck correctly, I would agree with that. And I would also say combo decks in itself are not a problem, just the ones where you can't do anything against that win by like turn 5 or 6. Like, who liked Snip Snap OTK? Who liked Darkest Hour in Wild, which was a combo? I don't think anybody was like, oh, that was fun, I lost. But combos where you have to draw your entire deck for, maybe those are fine because you have enough time to not win. Blizzard needs to stop spoiling the entire set before release. We need something to be a surprise. And stop giving creators time to play in theorycraft before the cards release. They spoil all the fun in deck building. That's hard, because considering that, you know, I'm a creator guy. I never participated in any of those events. I never got invited. That might also be the reason why. But yeah, I think I agree twice and disagree once. I agree with the fact that they shouldn't just release all the cards within like a week. Even if they reveal the cards, if you have like 6 card reveals every single day for an entire week and then they just dump all the other stuff, it kind of feels cold. It doesn't feel like, hey, be excited, we have new cards. It's more like, here's stuff. I would like a schedule more where you get like 2 or 3 new cards a day for an entire month. And then like one reveal of like 10 cards every week or so in a stream. I would also agree that inviting creators to playtest and theorycraft is not perceived well by anybody. I guess if you're a fan of the creator and you don't care about the game too much, sure, whatever. You see somebody you like having fun, that's good. But for most people, seeing another person they don't care about having fun, getting their Christmas presents before everybody else, that just feels bad. They probably just do it for marketing reasons, and if that wouldn't work out well, then they would have stopped doing that. So it does perform well, I guess. But yeah, here's the point where I do disagree. When he says they spoil all the fun in deck building, I don't think you can spoil the fun in there. It's not like they figure out the meta. They just put the new cards into a deck, and those decks perform terribly, and then they get refined anyways within like 2 days when all the professional players post their deck lists. If we have a new archetype called Schmumpy, I don't think that anybody making a Schmumpy deck in the first day before the release is going to make that competitively viable. They just put in new cards. On top of that, they also play against other people playing bad decks. But yeah, that's the part where I do disagree. The other stuff I do agree upon. Created by and randomly are good mechanics. I understand people think they're overused, but they are one of the major things that draw people into Hearthstone, and they absolutely have a place in a digital game. Yes, it should 100% be like that there's random, because that can't be done physically. You can roll a dice or whatever, but that's something that Hearthstone does well because it's digital. And while those mechanics are fun, if you play for fun, if you play competitively or to win, those things are really frustrating. The entire cycle of discover into random, into a lucky, and then created by into some random spell, no, that's not fun if you play to win the game, but if it happens for you, then that's great, I guess. It's just bad if there's a ranked system attached to it where you gain or lose stars based on the outcome. The game right now is too expensive for casual players and unrewarding for pro players, but trying to please both sides, nobody is happy. That sounds like a good summary of the game state right now. Let me see if I can disagree at any point there. It's too expensive for casual players. It depends on what the casual player tries to do, right? If I try to play the game twice a week with one deck that I like, I can do that. If I try to stay competitively viable and have like 4 or 5 decks that all work, that doesn't happen. And if you're a professional player and you get random into random, that's also kind of bad. And if you participate in any tournament or esport event and then you lose to random, that also feels bad. So I guess I agree more than I disagree. But I would feel bad for anybody trying to make competitive Hearthstone their career, which is probably not the wisest choice because it's random. But who am I to judge? My career is I talk about the game. But at least random is not the influence, it's more like the YouTube algorithm and you guys subbing and liking the video, which is free by the way. Which brings us to our last point. Thank you, Regis. I agree, because then I get a play button and that is in my background. Thank you, Regis, very cool. And with that being said, those would be all the hot takes you guys sent. I mean, they're like 170 more, but most of them are more like, the game is expensive, and it's like, yeah, really, didn't notice that. If you want to participate in the next video of this style, which will be about a different topic, I guess, feel free to follow me on Twitter and then you will see stuff there, I don't know, boost the numbers. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your hot takes in the comments down below. Maybe you disagree on everything, or you just like writing comments. Take care.